connections throughout the and more intentions to better develop the community.
All right, thanks, Anthony. Mr. Taylor, are you with us yet?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, if you don't mind opening up with a word of prayer.
All right, let us bow, please. This evening, eternal Father, we come to you, Lord, to say thank you for your many blessings. Lord, we thank you for watching over us as we slept last night, and thank you for waking us up this morning. Thank you for carrying us throughout this day. Lord, we ask that you would just be with us as we go throughout this meeting this evening and help us, Lord, to come together, Lord, to advance our city forward, Lord. Help us to move our communities forward, Lord, and just come together on one accord. Lord, you've been so good to us. We've been much better than we've been to ourselves, and we just thank you and give you praise and glory. Lord, it's no doubt, Lord, that we are still here because of your grace and your mercy. We just thank you for all that you've done for us, and we give you the honor and the glory that only you deserve. We ask that you would just guide us and lead us to do your will. These blessings we ask in your son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Jennifer, are you on?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer West. I'm the current president of the Jackson Association of Neighborhoods. My involvement has been with the group for a couple of years now. And what I'm doing this afternoon is introducing the board members and the membership committee, starting with the JAM board. If you're on, if you want to wave or say here, you can. And then we're going to go into the group that will be showing the presentation this afternoon, which is the JAM membership committee. First, we have Lacey Lofton for Ward 1. She's our secretary/treasurer. Next, we have Ken Steer for Ward 1. Jeff Taylor for Ward 2. Alex Lawson for Ward 3. Serena Wilson for Ward 3. Seymour Bell for Ward 4. Sharon Jones for Ward 4.
Sharon Brown.
I'm sorry. Brenda Carpenter, Ward 5. Ricky Jones for Ward 5. Andy Frame, Ward 7. Myself, Ward 7. And Princess Barbara, Ward 4.
Good evening, everyone.
Now we have our JAN membership committee. It is Ken Wilson, Ward 1. Jeff Taylor, Ward 2. Anthony Moore, Ward 3. I apologize if I screw up the first name. Felicity
Plachette.
Smith, Ward 4. Fran Bridges, Ward 5 chair.
Yay!
Yes. And Henry Thomas, Ward 6.
Here.
And last but not least, Andy Frame, Ward 7. These are our JAN board members and our JAN membership committee.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. We are very excited to have this meeting. We've been talking about it for a while and working up to it. And this is really kind of the beginning of what we want to do at Jackson Association of Neighborhoods. This is an organization that's been around for a while. It's been around for probably 25 years and has been run by some great leaders over the years. Princess Barbara was president for a while. Viola Smoot, Dorothy Daniels, Matthew Williams, lots of great folks have led JAN over the years, and we just want to keep that going. And over the last couple of years, we've been trying to think about ways that we can create the most impact, and really what that comes down to is following our mission, which is to make Jackson neighborhoods, help make Jackson neighborhoods stronger and more effective. We want to help share timely information that's helpful and connect Jackson neighborhoods with each other, with local businesses, with government agencies, and bring resources and opportunities into those neighborhoods. The way we're structured is we have a board, members from each ward. Currently, we're in need of Ward 6 representatives.
No. I'm on a Zoom meeting. I'm on a Zoom city meeting.
Okay, she muted, Andy.
All right. So the way we're structured is we have board members from each ward, and then we have 4 committees. And our committees are the membership committee, the neighborhood strengthening committee, the business relations committee, and the finance committee. And each of those committees is what we're focusing on this year. So the membership committee is encouraging membership in all neighborhood associations and encouraging neighborhoods to get connected with us. We want to build out a database of neighborhood associations with their membership, their boundaries, just so that we can have an updated source for that information. The neighborhood strengthening committee is looking for and sharing tools that neighborhoods can use to be more effective. One of the ones we're going to talk about today is a block captain program that some of y'all might be using already, but we believe will be really helpful to use in the future. There's a lot of other tools that neighborhoods can implement that will be to help neighborhoods become more effective. The business relations committee is all about connecting businesses with neighborhoods. We want neighborhoods to promote local businesses and help businesses become better community members. Then we also want those businesses to support neighborhood associations and events that'll bring neighborhoods together. And then finally, we have a finance committee that is there to help take care of the money that we raise as an organization and to find new money to support our projects and programs. And then we want to help neighborhoods find ways to raise money and to take care of the money that they have in a ethical way. So those 4 committees are open for membership. If anybody wants to get involved with Jan, that's how you would do it, is by joining one of those committees. And each of those committees is going to put on one of these meetings throughout the year, every quarter. So this is the first one. And then in 3 months, we'll be doing the neighborhood strengthening meeting just like this. And that'll be focused on tools that neighborhoods can use to get stronger. Without further ado, let's get into it. This meeting is about a call to get involved. And that's exactly what it is. We think that it's time for, we just need to pull together. And first, I'll take it to our chair, Fran Bridges.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you, Anthony. I am very excited about this opportunity that we have to bring our neighborhoods and communities together across wards. There's nothing more exciting for me than to keep learning and also to gain information and thoughts and input from other people, exchange ideas. So I'm excited that we can learn from each other. And the other thing that excites me is that most of us might agree that our children are one of our most important assets. So when you think about our children and them watching us, because learning doesn't just take place from 7:30 to 3:30 in the classroom. There's a lot of learning that goes on in the community. So how can we be the kind of leaders that when our children hear or see us, we're exemplifying that kind of leadership that they can model to help them grow and development, and that we can provide rich learning experiences from them in the community that they can take back and use in the school to be successful. So I'm excited, and I just believe that with all the chaos that's going on in the world, that God has so positioned us that we can get some good out of this different world that we're living in. And so loving your neighbors yourself and sharing with neighbors and connecting with neighbors and sharing across the wards and across communities. I just think it's an excellent opportunity, and I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for coming. So we'll hear from Ken. Let him tell us what he's thinking about this call to get involved.
Thank you, Dr. Bridges. Good evening, everyone. I'm Ken Wilson, representative for Ward 1. This is a great occasion for everyone to get involved, as stated by Dr. Bridges, our president and vice president. Some of the things that we are doing in our community, we are creating committees to clean, beautification committees, public safety committees, block captains. Those are some of the ways that you can get people excited about getting involved in the community. We have the summer coming up. We have the spring here. So we try to advocate to get our youth involved. So those are just some of the ways. I'm not going to be long, but please contact us at neighborhoods.jan@gmail.com for more information on how to stay involved. Thank you for your time.
Okay, and next we have Jeffrey Taylor.
You're still muted, Mr. Taylor.
Monique, can you unmute Jeff?
Yes, I'm trying
Okay.
now.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry about that. I grew up in West Jackson. Fran was talking about the children, and as a child, there were several members of my neighborhood, men, the older men that actually could not read, but they were leaders in the community, and that's what we've gotten away from. The education portion of it. They didn't have formal education, but they were scholars, and they passed information on, and they raised not only their children, but they raised other children in the neighborhood. They taught us right from wrong, and those are things that I believe are missing in our neighborhoods today. We don't really know our neighbors as we should, so therefore we have fragile neighborhoods now. And one of the things I often talk about is that, the Constitution says that it's we the people. It doesn't say those people, us people, my people. It says we the people. And when I think of we the people, I think of joint effort, everybody collectively coming together to make this city, one city, and moving it forward in a progressive manner that we can do things that other surrounding cities are doing. We have the resources, and we are the resources. We are the people that have to get out and vote, and get our neighbors, our family and friends to get out and vote. So thank you for your participation tonight, and I hope we can all come together, and you all that haven't been involved with Jan will start participating, and we can move our city forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Thank you very much. And just to add on what Jeff and Fran and Ken have said, what our vision was as a committee when we started working here is that we needed to just go out and collect information from neighborhoods and see who's out there is active. And one of the things we did was create a page on our website where you can log in and give us your updated information. And what I found from that, as we've gotten about 40 or 50 responses from that since we started doing that at the beginning of the year, is that about 75% of the neighborhoods that have responded haven't been meeting since COVID started. And that's understandable. People didn't feel safe and still don't in a lot of ways. But what we've lost in that is so much that we don't even realize, is that not being able to come together and catch up with one another and see what's going on with one another is really a big loss. And that's really one of the reasons why now is so important to kind of get back in gear and get back into a new mode of kind of how we operate as community members. And I think we can do it in a different way than we've done it before. I think we've had great leaders in the city, great community leaders, and there's a lot on this call right now that are joining us. But what we need are more. We need a lot more, and we need more people to share the load. One of the things that with this database and with with good block captain systems that we could do is just have a really tight network to communicate with one another, especially when emergencies happen. So last year when the water, when the storm came through and we lost water in a lot of the city, the communication was kind of hit or miss, and it took people days to get heat and water that they needed. And so this is just another reason why we believe it's really vital that we do this. So when we say get involved, what we really mean is find out who's working with your neighborhood, get connected with them, and stay connected, stay working together, and work with us. Let us know what you're doing, and we'll work together, and we'll do the best we can. Obviously, we're all humans, so we're going to make mistakes. So be patient and kind, and we'll work together and do the best we can. Fran, what's next?
Okay, we don't just want to fill you with information because we know that you're smart, intelligent and gifted people. So we want to hear from you. Would someone, maybe several people, like to tell us what are your dreams and aspirations for your neighborhood? Anyone want to raise their hand to share with us, and we can probably take maybe 2 or 3, maybe even 4 comments coming from you. In addition to that, we would ask that you log in on the chat box. What are your dreams and your aspirations for your neighborhood? You don't have to identify yourself in the chat if you don't want to, because if you share, then we can collectively hear what you have to say. But we want to hear from you. And we hope that everyone has a dream or a vision for their neighborhood. Do I see a hand raised? Yes, I see Mr. Norwood. Mr. Eric Norwood.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
How are you doing? My name is Eric Norwood. I am currently the Bel Air Estates Neighborhood Association president. I was born in that neighborhood. I've been gone a year, but I am currently a member of the city planning board also. As you know, I've been on active duty about a year now. I come off in about 2 days, so I'm excited. But the thing I love, I bought a house in the neighborhood that I grew up in after college. I remember what my neighborhood was. I don't know if everyone knows the neighborhood, but from my history, Bel Air was developed in the mid-60s. It is, as I believe, the first neighborhood developed for African Americans. Those homes were built by us, and that's who lived in the neighborhood. We didn't move into other neighborhoods. I would like to restore some of that history and pride that was in the neighborhood when I was a kid. We have a neighborhood full of working class and professional people when I was a child. I can call out a few names. We had Dr. Shirley, Lawyer Tucker, I think the second Evers home is in our neighborhood. We just had a lot. Anything we wanted to do as children, it was tangible to us because someone in our neighborhood held that profession at one point in time. And I'm just trying to move back to that that glory for Jackson. I would like people to move back to Jackson, because I have this nostalgia about what we used to be and what we can be. We just need the proper catalyst. And that'll be all.
Thank you, Eric.
We have Fran, you're on mute. And we have Monica Cannon hand that is raised.
Okay, Monica Cannon.
Hi, my name is Monica Cannon. I'm a member of the Midtown Neighborhood Association. I live, work, and so for the most part play in Midtown. One great thing that we've had with regards to our neighborhood association in the community is that we have several organizations or nonprofits who support us. So as far as resources, we've never been in a position where we were without the resources we need, to do many of the things we wanted to do. The main thing that I see as a challenge for us, and I really would like for us to strengthen the community in this area, is learning how to engage young head of households. We've built capacity over the years. We've been to NeighborWorks. We've been as far as Los Angeles for training all across the United States. But the area that we need to do more work in is engaging these young head of households to get more involved in the community and to understand how, and not just the community, but also get involved within their city. Many people in our community, the younger ones, unfortunately, don't understand how decisions at City Hall affect their living room. They don't understand how the decisions at the Capitol come back and affect their household. And of course, how things in the neighborhood affect their households. So that's one of the areas that we're looking and we're researching, and just kind of looking to see what efforts are being utilized across the U.S. so that we can implement in our community. We're very big on not trying to reinvent the wheel. So that's just one area, but I mean, there's many great things that's going on there that I could talk about, with regards to the creative economy in our neighborhood, with regards to housing. We just demolished about 20 dilapidated housing. We're getting ready to develop a $10 million project, not the neighborhood association, but in the community. We're getting ready to do a $10 million housing project, another one, because we did one a few years ago in the community. So there's a lot of great things going on in the community, but we've got to do better by getting these young parents involved. Thank you.
Thanks, Monica. Thank you so much. Do we have somebody else who has time to share quickly?
We have Laverne who is holding. Laverne Stewart.
Good evening. I am from Richwood 3 Estates Homeowners Association. I'm the president. Have the vice president on with us as well. Our vision for the community is to keep it safe and clean and peaceful. When we moved into this neighborhood, it was a prominent area. We want to keep it that way. Keep our property values up. We also envision having annual block parties and homecoming events, getting out to know your neighbors like it used to be. People nowadays don't even know who their next door neighbor is. So we want to bring that back. And we want it to be a place that you're proud to call your home, and you're proud and to invite your family and friends into them. We want to get back to that. Some people kind of lacking in that area, but that's our vision in Richwood 3 Estates.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Yeah, that's exactly right. Peaceful, clean, healthy, happy, peace of mind. That's exactly what we're working toward as well. And those events you're talking about where people come together, I believe that it's just my theory it takes good neighborhood habits to kind of bring that up, and you just got to keep doing the same thing like we do at our own house to keep things in order, and just take it neighborhood wide and work with each other to do it. And as we do that, we'll see the fruit of that labor for sure. I think that's what we believe at Jan. Fran, do we want to go on to ways to get in action?
Yes, unless there's another question on the floor, we can move on.
Hey, Andy, I'm not sure, but I think Miss Beasley may have been trying to have her hand raised. I'm not sure if she was or not.
Yep, sure. Thanks, Anthony.
You're still muted. Okay.
Hi, my name is Kay Beasley, and I am a lifelong resident of Jackson. I also I bought a house in the community that I grew up in, just to stay close to my mom. My mom is still in the community, and I am also. So what we strive over here in Ridgecrest is we do have cleanup once a month. We do have an active neighborhood association. We participate in the National Night Out in the spring and in the fall. And I would just like to get more information into how to grow this association, because in this one subdivision, there are 4 associations. And I would like and I'm the vice president, and I would like all of us to come together and have one big association. So I'm happy to be here. Brenda Carpenter invited me, and I've also sent out invites to join the conversation for tonight. And I love Jackson. I retired in 2019, could have moved anywhere, but I like here.
Thank you very much. That's actually a great kind of low hanging fruit thing you can do, is start working on bringing those organizations together, and we'd be glad to help you with that.
Okay.
Deidre McNeil or McNeese.
Am I on?
You're on.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not Deidre McNeil. I don't know why I say that, but I'm at Wantia F. I met you all on, I live on Louisiana. Yeah. So I'm a new resident to the area. I bought a house on Louisiana Avenue. That was one of the major streets that was being dumped on and being garbage, because the 100 block part of the street is abandoned. I've only been in the neighborhood 5 years, and I've had a vision for my street ever since I've been over there. And I figured, since I live over there, I want to help clean it up and make better use of the area. There's only 4 people that live on the end of my street, and they all retired city workers. So we all know each other, we all work together, and we conversate with one another. And like I said, I've only been over there 5 years. I maintain one side of the street completely, all the way to the corner of Virginia. And I really want to open up my business at the top of the street in the old dentist office. So I'm really into putting back into West Jackson, even though I'm not from West Jackson, I'm from North Jackson. But I figure if I own the land where I live, we're gonna make it pleasing to live there. So in everything that y'all have invited me to, I try to make sure I'm there, because the 5 years I've been there, me and my ex-husband, who worked for the city, we have been cleaning the street up on our own until I finally met Mr. Andy Frame and Mr. Johnston. So I've been excited about this whole ordeal, and there is no neighborhood committee association in my area at all that I've been aware of until we had our first neighborhood meeting, and I was excited about that. So I'm excited about everything going forward from here on out, because I do have a vision for my street. I have a vision for even putting more homes on the street. I done researched that. I done cleaned off a field myself that's owned by the city, and I done researched on trying to purchase it this year, and so I can continue maintaining those 3 lots and maybe more. But I'm here with the support and trying to figure out everything it is y'all need me to do. I would love to join the association, because I live there now and I'm not moving anytime soon. So I want to make my street and the neighborhood just as pleased. And I think that's all I had to say. And I really love everything that y'all do.
Thank
to help get everything into place.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I think the momentum that people can generate by working together can happen so quickly, where you have some quick wins that that really get people excited. Thanks for sharing.
I campaigned for a whole year to get the street on the list, and then y'all came right on in, and it all worked together.
Yeah.
And now the street is clean and clear, and I've been every night I get up and ride up and down the street to make sure ain't nobody dumping. I have created my own neighborhood watch.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, that deserves a round of applause. That is
Absolutely,
wonderful.
absolutely.
Thank you, Deidre McNeil. I am pleased to meet you. Look forward to
It's
seeing you soon.
it's Sheikah Epps. I think Deidre McNeil invited me, and it's
Okay.
showing her name, but I'm Miss Epps.
I'm sorry, let me write that down. Put it in the chat box for us. You may have.
Okay.
Okay, well, forgive me for being so excited. I heard that, but I didn't log it. Okay, so if we could talk about the newsletter for just a moment.
Fran,
Do we have-
Fran, I think we missed that ways to get in action part.
Ways to get in action. I'm sorry, let's go back to Anthony Moore, ways to get in action.
Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Anthony Moore, and I am a membership committee member from Ward 3. And I've dropped my email and contact in the chat. So if you're in Ward 3 and you are looking to get involved in the area, if you are looking to have some good creative ideas to spur quality of life improvements in your neighborhood, I am your guy to reach out to. One way that I'd like to bring to you all to get your community involved, ways to get your neighborhood association in action, is to take it to the basics. I think we all recognize that we have some very basic and foundational issues around our neighborhoods. And this is from every ward throughout the entire city. And you know, some of the most longstanding and nicest neighborhoods to some of the most deprived and dilapidated neighborhoods oftentimes share some of the same quality of life issues. So one way for neighborhoods to get involved and get more of their neighbors active and engaged is to create a 311 committee in your neighborhood association. Reach out and update your neighbors on quality of life issues that you all are experiencing. So if you all have a clogged storm drain on one end of the neighborhood and it's flooding the neighborhood, I think one step to take in an instance like that is to inform your neighbors of that quality of life issue, but also give them the tools to move forward with seeking to improve that problem. The city, and this will require us working with the city, issues like storm drain clogs, issues like ditches that may need to be retrenched, sewage backups, overgrown easements. These are all things that should be readily and often reported to 311. And that is a resource that neighbors can use to ensure that their neighborhoods are maintained on a basic level. And that's also a great way to bring your neighbors in. They are the ones who are afflicted, and therefore they will have more of an interest in actually seeing this improved and be more interested in actually being involved. I know a lot of people oftentimes when you're organizing and doing this work of neighborhood building, the complaining that some neighbors bring to you can sometimes be weighed, but this is a way to use those complaints and really re-energize your neighbors to actually seek solutions to these problems. So the improving of your assets through community building and getting rid of problems that are at the very basic level, like potholes and ditches, anything from water issues, sewer issues, drainage issues, garbage on the streets, abandoned or neglected property, traffic signs and signal issues, police or animal control issues, zoning issues, or park or recreation issues. All of these can be reported to 311, and it is really easy to connect your neighbors with these issues and get them mobilized around creating change in your neighborhood. Thank you all.
Okay, very good job, Anthony. And next we have Henry Thomas that's going to speak with us. And Henry is from Ward 6.
Yes, I'm from Ward 6, and I've lived in South Jackson for, I guess, 30 years. And I've had experience with good, active neighborhood associations, not so good neighborhood associations, inactive neighborhood associations. And I want to talk about some things you might can do to make sure your neighborhood association is active and one of the good ones. I believe in the saying, many hands make light work. And I also believe getting the members of the associations involved. I think a lot of times people wait for the president or vice president to do everything. They think that they ought to do everything, but getting the people involved, the members involved, is a big way to make sure your neighborhood association is successful. One way, and I think somebody mentioned it already, they were mentioning, I forget who it was, it might have been Ken, committees. When we had a good neighborhood association, we had committees. Members volunteer to serve on different committees because everybody can't do everything. People don't always have the skills to do everything. So we had, for example, a public relations and social committee. And that committee was very important because they got the word out. When we were having an event, a cleanup or whatever it was, they got the word out to the people to participate. They helped in planning events. We had almost like a little festival for kids, especially during the summer when it's not, they're not in school. That they also had a person in charge of social media. Again, that's an effort to get the word out because you have to have a lot of people in order to get some kind of impact. We also had a newspaper for our neighborhood association, and that went out. And that's another thing in the newspaper, where there were some articles maybe of interest, things you can do, important phone numbers with the city to call, all those, but also just little notes to encourage people to do cleanups and whatever like that. We had a committee on appearance and beautification. We have a problem with people dumping trash. I know you probably have the same problem. We have abandoned property. Somebody earlier were talking about that. So we had a committee just for appearance and beautification. Then a big one was neighborhood safety and crime. You know, we had a situation that one time there was a lot of people speeding and racing on our streets, and members of our community got together and they installed these speed bumps that you can't drive very fast. You can't hardly go over 20 miles an hour on the street that I live on now with these speed bumps. We got the city to do that. A neighborhood watch is part of safety and crime. And you can have any committee you want, and your members can decide what committees to serve on. We have a sign-in sheet and they pick what committees that they want to serve on. I will make sure that the committees have a chairman and a co-chair to make sure that they meet and do things. And another good thing about having these committees, again, sometimes we've had situations where, you know, the president might be sick or having some kind of personal problem, but the committees can be doing work where if the president is doing it or not. So I think that that's, you know, important. I think that's all I have. I was going to say something about block captains, but I believe Andy is going to talk about block captains.
That's right. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. We appreciate that. That's a lot of good information. Yeah, I'll just real quickly talk about it. We did in our January newsletter, we talk about block captains. And really, you know, block captains it's nothing new. We're not, it's nothing groundbreaking or anything, but it's a great way to get more people involved. You know, I'm a block captain on my street, where, you know, just walk up and down the street once a month and look for potholes, look for code violations, look for sewer and water issues, things like that. But also I collect people's contact information on my street and we stay in touch with one another. Then if something goes, then it can go from the neighbor to neighbor level up to the Jackson Association, or up to my neighborhood level, up to the Jackson Association of Neighborhoods level, and we can share information really quickly. One thing I've noticed in my short time doing this is that we have a lot of people in the city who aren't connected on the internet. aren't, getting email and so what every neighborhood needs is someone who's kind of like an information officer. And they didn't have to have an official title like that, but we really need somebody who can say, okay, whether it's the president or not, I'm going to be the one who's connected with Jackson Association of Neighborhoods and connected with the city and other neighborhood associations around adjacent to ours. And I'm going to share that information with the people in our neighborhood that don't stay connected with through the internet. So like, I know we're missing a lot of people in this meeting who just aren't tapped into Zoom. So I think those two things, block captains, and then making sure you're connecting with all the people in your neighborhood so we don't have anybody fall through the cracks. I see Mr. Ward has his hand raised, and we are happy to have Ernest here. He's the president of ASJAN, who does great work in South Jackson.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to know that how many people are going to be participating in the South Jackson Festival coming up on April the 9th. I think it's very important that all of us be a part of each events in other people's neighborhoods. And it's an event that we some of you all heard from South Jackson, first time hearing of you. And ASJAN been around for a long time. I've been the president for 4 years. And this be the second time we having this parade. But question go back, how many on this Zoom meeting going to participate in the parade and try to make this the best parade ever hit Jackson? It's important that all of us to participate in each other events, and I think this is a city event, and we got about 30 to 35 vendors going to be there, and I think we're going to have a great program event. So I would like to know that we're all going to special one for South Jackson area. And but we want not only South Jackson, because I'm all about reaching out to everybody in the Jackson area, East Jackson, West Jackson, and South Jackson, and North Jackson, because we all consider being one. We Hinds County. So we Hinds County, we need to support each other in what endeavors each person have. This is something that I know I heard some people talked about vision, but vision is no good when it's not working. We can all, mayor, I hear the mayor talking about vision, everybody talking about vision, but what you're doing to make those things take place. We all can have a vision where we visualize what things look like, but what effort are we doing to trying to make these things happen? And I hear a lot of people saying some great things, but we got a long way to go. We talking about getting a chance to know our neighbors. We had neighbors don't even want to know you. We got neighbors don't even want to get involved. But I know that it's an ongoing situation with everybody and myself, and it seems like people don't care until something happened to them. Then they want to call the president or want to get an answer. But the question go back is that we got to take good people like yourself to make these things happen. And then hope the other folks will get on board, because we live in a time now, people don't care. People don't show concern about anything. So we can't wait on our politician to do things for us. We got to reach out and do things ourselves and hope they will see what we're doing and they might want to be a part of that. So my question is that how many people are going to participate in the South Jackson parade? How many people plan on having a car to represent your neighborhood or float in this parade come this great event going to happen April the 9th?
Thank you, Mr. Ward, for sharing with us so passionately. And that's one of the good things about this workshop. Even as we're talking, we're receiving information in the chat box about people who plan to be involved and people who want to know more about it. So I think that our prayers are being answered because we are connecting at a greater level, even as we speak. So thank you very much. And look like you're putting a little pressure on us. Popa Country Park gonna have to dress up a car. But thank you.
That's the plan. I mean, with the pressure, we all I know Howard Sanders from Mississippi, he said put the pressure on us, and all of us need to put the pressure on each other for we can continue to do better.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ward, and we're going to be connecting you with the people that are connecting. And so you have two people in South Jackson. You have Henry Thomas with Ward 6, and you have Plachette Smith with Ward 4. Because, and then we have some, Ward 5 has some too. And we already got somebody, Ruth Ann Hudson from Alta Woods. So we're connecting already. So we're very grateful. And as we move along, if you didn't get to speak about your dreams and aspirations, stick it in the chat box. We're getting excited. Okay, help me out, Andy. Where are we now?
Now we're talking about, well, first I wanted to say, I see a couple people of Liz Brister said Fondren North is going to have a float at the ASJAM parade. So that's exciting.
Okay.
And then we've got some other people in the chat box, Mr. Ward, who say they'd like to be involved. I think that's great. I think that's just by having this meeting, we're already helping you out. And we've been promoting your event on our Facebook page as well.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
So the next thing we have is just kind of like a what's next. Where do we go from here? And Fran, we were going to talk about the newsletter.
Yes. So we encourage you. We've listed our email in the chat box. And so check us out. Go to ourjan.org to the website. That's one way to connect. And if you've gotten emails from us, I think we have some connector links that will take you to where you can register your organization. And I don't know about your neighborhood, but some neighborhoods have changes. Like we recently had a change in my neighborhood. And so our president emeritus is Alice Griffin Clark. And I recently became the president as of February the 1st. So pray for me. And we're looking for a president, okay? I'll serve 1 year, 2 years, but let's pass the torch. Don't get here and stay. So anyway, I'm excited, but please sign up for the newsletter. And I encourage you, don't just see that, I don't know whether it comes to you as Our Jan or from Andy, but when you see it, sort of delve in there, go through it. There can be some interesting information in there. So we want to encourage you, especially our neighborhood leaders. You may not be able to get all of your residents to take an interest in the newsletter, but as officers, I would encourage you to look at that newsletter because it can contain some very important information. So right now I'm going to let Andy, we're going to hear from Andy to have any questions about the newsletter. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Go ahead, Andy.
So real quick on the newsletter, Ms. Hudson asked, how can we get information to our neighbors who don't have internet? And what we're in the process of fundraising ourselves. And one of the things we're fundraising for is just the ability to print off hard copies of our newsletter and share it. So we do have enough money to do that now on a small basis, but I think that as we expand and more people would need that, we'll be able to grow with that. And so if you have a need and let's say you have 20 people, you're 50 people you want to pass it out to, our newsletter is not that long. We can just let us know. We'll run you some copies and you can pick them up and pass them out to your neighborhood. That's one way to do it. But the next thing I wanted to talk about was our neighborhood database. So please, if you have not done so, and even if somebody in your neighborhood has already done so, please submit. I know a lot of people on this call have done it, but please go on our website and fill in, and I'll put the link to it in the chat, but fill in your neighborhood information. So what your boundaries are, meaning like the Northern Street, Eastern Street, Southern Street, West, and then when you meet, what your contact information is so that we have up-to-date information there. The city needs that for a lot of reasons as well, but we want to keep our own database and make sure that we're always maintaining it so that we can stay in touch with each other and be more informed. But one of the things we're doing with that is creating a map. We're going to have a GIS map on our website that's going to have neighborhood boundaries, and you're going to be able to click on different levels of information, whether it's police precincts, city wards, flood zone areas, parks, school districts, things like that. And you're going to be able to see where your neighborhood is, what the adjacent neighborhoods are, and kind of where you want to see your neighborhood go in the future. Where might be a commercial corridor that's not being taken advantage of right now, or is not in good shape. How can we spruce that up a little bit and encourage some business development? These are things that neighborhoods can do, and they are doing in the city right now, and more neighborhoods can be smart about that. And I think that, and we would love to work with you on any of that, but our map is only as good as the information that we have. So we really need you to update your database, and like people all over the city can help us collect that. So if you know the neighborhood boundaries for another neighborhood that you don't live in, fill that in too. It doesn't, we'll double check everything, but we really need y'all to submit that. That's how we're gonna fill that in. But that's all I have for now, unless anybody has any questions about that. I'll post the link in the chat, and I will send it over to Ken to update us on something else.
If I could just say a word, Andy, about the map, and I'm hoping and praying that it'll be that colorful map that we used to have. But there was a time when we had this map, and it had the city and state properties and residential properties. And when you hovered over a particular parcel, you would get the parcel number, and you could click and you could go to who owns it or whatever. And at that time, it was sort of like a neighbor's first program. But we were actually able to work with neighbors who had a state property next to theirs. And they were actually able to work with acquiring that property to expand their driveway, or just to keep it up, take ownership for keeping it up. And it was a wonderful, wonderful tool. And I was so excited. I'd just be looking for people that I know on streets to see if it was one close to them, so that I could tell them, why don't you try to get this piece of property? So I pray, Andy, that it still has that kind of utility in using it, because it was really good.
Well, friend, that was a revitalized Mississippi map is what that was, and which is who I work for. So we will do our best to put that parcel data on there. But we're still in the development process of all that. So that's still up in the air, but we want to do that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and Fran, do we want to, I think this is probably before, well, let's wait till after Ken goes.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vice President, Ms. Chair. I just want to update you all on something that you may or may not know. The 1% Sales Tax Commission is directing their attention inside of our communities for a repaving project. So just a little bit of information here. This could be amended in the near future. We just want you all to be aware of what's going on. They have decided to repave the streets inside of your community for organized communities. So if you have a neighborhood association, this is a great time to meet with your members and say, hey, let's figure out what street in our community would we like paved? What street needs the most attention? Let's start planning now. If you don't have an organized association, you would like to organize, please contact Dr. Fran Bridges at franbridge@gmail.com. I have already put the information in the chat box. As I stated prior, this is essential. If I know you all complain a lot about potholes and repaving, I think they've heard our cry. So this is your opportunity to get organized, get that list together. So once the information is released for us to sign up, that you all are prepared. So thank you all. I yield back to you, Mr. Vice President.
Okay. Andy?
Yes, I just wanted to say, recognize and say welcome to the elected officials on the call. I know Councilman Hartley and Councilman Grizel, and then I believe Judge Hicks might have been on the call earlier. And I'm not sure if Representative Summers is, but I know that the Councilman Hartley and Councilman Grizel are on, and we appreciate them joining us.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Where am I? Give me just a second. Okay, thank you very much, Andy. I also want to just appreciate and thank all of our council people. We did reach out to them, and they may or may not be able to be on this call. But we are very grateful to all of our council people for taking an interest in what we are trying to do and supporting us. So we want to give a shout out to everyone for your efforts to get your communities involved. And we're just going to try to keep connecting to each other so that we can make stronger, build stronger communities, stronger neighborhoods. And at this time, I'd like to ask if there are any other questions, comments, or suggestions. Okay, Jan Membership Committee. Monique, if you can let us know if there are any hands or anybody else. Membership Committee, is there anything else that you would like to say?
Dr. Bridges?
Yes, Mr. Hartley.
Yes, hey, Councilman Hartley here. I've been listening in before you get off the notion of council folks. Just wanted to let you know I've been listening in, and this is simply wonderful. This is the exact type of vision, the exact type of forums we need for our city, and it's all about the neighborhoods. Annie knows, Jennifer knows, you know that I've always been a big supporter of Jackson Association of Neighborhoods. A neighborhood is what it's all about. One of the biggest things that I've gotten out of listening in is the fact that there's so many different folks out there with ideas, and it's exciting. It really is exciting. We have the same issues. Ward 5, the neighborhoods have the same issues. And Andy, I applaud you.
I think we lost him.
Okay, Mr. Hartley, your auto cut out. We can't hear you. Your audio cut out. Okay, maybe I can put it in the chat box.
I don't see him on the call anymore.
Okay, he must have dropped. I see his picture. Okay, well, we thank Mr. Hartley, and we thank Mr. Grizel for being present as well. He was very helpful in getting word out to his community. So we are very, very grateful. But as Andy talked about the 1%, you know, we don't want you to be alarmed if you are in an area where you don't have a neighborhood association. They are going to be taking the input from neighborhood associations. So if there is a street that you're interested in, you can feel free to contact any one of our membership committee people, and they will join you with a neighborhood, or you can contact me as Ken shared with you. But we do want you to know that we're committed with working with you across wards and across neighborhoods, because we believe that working together really works. And there's a little saying that we have, and I put it in the chat box, but what it really amounts to is we want all places in Jackson to be a place where children can live, play, and learn. That means it's safe. And we also recognize that we have a good many people who are investors. So we want our community to be a place where people can invest, grow, and stay. So there is an opportunity for us to work with landlords, to let them know that if you work with us on getting good people in as renters, then it's going to improve the value of your property, just like it will ours. And I talked to a landlord today, and I was asking him how he felt about putting it on his application to let his renters know that, you know, a condition of your renting is for me to share with the neighborhood association, you know, who you are and your contact information, because we're dependent on them to help you keep your family and yourself safe and things like that. And he was very receptive to it. And this is the last thing I'm going to say. We had a situation in our neighborhood where some new people moved in. The street probably doesn't have any more than 15 houses. And so they used to be very close when they were just homeowners. But as people have died out and, you know, some people are buying property, some people are trying to rent out air property and things like that. But they had a fire one night and the man was distraught because he didn't know who was in that house and whether all of them had gotten out. So after that, he just said, I have to do something. I have to try to get to know my neighbors. And even then, some people were a little hesitant to say who was living in the house. But if you can imagine, you know, somebody burning up in a house because they didn't know another person lived there. And I know that's a little bit extreme, but we just want to believe it's the right thing to do, to know your neighbor and to really care about your neighbor, because you know that translates into value added to you. If there are no more questions and comments, it is now 7:31. It's unbelievable. Andy, our meeting was supposed to last from 6:30 to what?
8, I think, but we want to get people out of here and have more. Is Jeopardy still going on? Or I'm sure somebody's talking about Will Smith or something, but we can go.
Okay. No,
Mr. Chair, I had a comment.
Okay, Ken.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for coming out. This is my first year as a committee membership member. This is very essential for our community. I think often we talk about improving the quality of life, and I want to encourage everyone to start small and grow big. If your neighborhood is not established, we want to help you. And I know some of you all feel like you're doing it all by yourself, but if just a few of us come together with a common goal, we can improve this city citywide. But we have to start small, and we're going to do so. But we need to know that you need help. You're not alone on the island. I want to remind you of that. And sometimes you may or may not feel like that. So please contact us. Let us be a resource. Let us extend the olive branch to you. Ridgewood Park is here, and we're going to work with any and everyone throughout Jackson, every square mile. So when Jackson wins, everyone wins. Thank you all.
I have one comment, Fran, if you don't mind. I do want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I do have one challenge for everybody on this call. We have one person from different neighborhoods. I think all 7 wards are here tonight. I challenge you to go out and find somebody else to tell this information to, whether it be in your schools, through your PTA, whether it be in your church. Every neighborhood has a neighborhood association, whether they realize it or not. If you have a church in there, that's a neighborhood organization. If you have a school in that neighborhood, that's a neighborhood organization. All of those factors make up what we're trying to do here. If we can spread the word and get everybody to come together. For a long time, people were in silos on doing different things. We have to get comfortable enough again to come back together and be able to do these things. We cannot do it alone. That's why there's partnerships when you get grants. There's partnerships when you do different things in the community and throughout the city. So it's our time. I'm making that challenge to everyone on this call. Find someone to tell about the newsletter. Find someone to tell about Jan. Find someone, if you know of someone that lives in South Jackson, North Jackson, West Jackson, whatever part of this city that cares about this city and may not know what to do just yet. Let's get them involved. Every small effort becomes a big outcome. So to us, this is what we're here to do. And there's plenty of people in this room that have that passion, people that don't know how to have that passion. And I just want to make sure that we get to those people that weren't able to make it tonight, that may not have the technology, that may not have the know-how to do that. But the people on this call and others that truly care, we can get the word out to them to do what they need to do to make it happen in their neighborhood. Just like the woman that has only 4 houses on her street. They know each other. They're doing the work. It does not have to be a big neighborhood that have 25 to 30 people on the street that can make a difference in their neighborhood. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. If all hearts are satisfied, I would ask that you allow me to close with a little word of prayer. And so we offer it as a word of prayer. Lord, we thank you for this time. We thank you for this opportunity. And we thank you for shining love and light and care in our meeting. And we ask that you would continue to guide us. And thank you and watch over us as we slumber and sleep. Remember the sick and shut in. Remember families who have someone in prison. and remember families who are bereaved. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Thank you all so much.
Thanks.
And great job.
Ooh,
Great job,
great
team.
job, team. Go team.
Go team, go team players.
Good night.
Thank you.
You all did a wonderful job. Thank you.